One crop, though, in contrast to the fenugreek, that we're very excited about, and we think that it's one of these crops that is beginning to explode and can explode. And Frank, correct me if you think I'm exaggerating. Okay? Sometimes I get enthusiastic and it brings me down to earth a little bit more, as you find out in another one I'll talk about. But amaranth to us looks great. Again, I just came back, as I said, from Zambia, and it turns out that Africans, sub-Saharan Africa anyway, eat amaranth as one of the most popular plants. We have a huge global horticultural crisp project, like a really big one in Tanzania and Kenya and Zambia, and amaranth is one of the three, including nightshade, that they consume. Millions of people are consuming it. And it's not considered one of those famine crops where people will only eat when they can't get any other food or they have no money. They grow it, they harvest it from the wild, and they like it. So amaranth is something you should look at, both from the Asian Indian perspective. There's different types, of three-leaf type. There's a green leaf, a purple leaf, and a mixed leaf, what they call a tricolor. Well, I can't still picture why it's tri. It seems to be bicolor, but they call it a tricolor amaranth, but I'm slow in counting. Okay? And some consumers and groups like different types of leaf shapes. So this is Amaranthus tricolor, before the leaf. It has excellent consistent yields, look great in all the states. Okay? It was harvested 3 times. It had prompt regrowth. It can be harvested weekly. We know it grows good because it's one of your biggest weeds, right, in each of your fields. Okay? Insect damage was apparent on the leaves. It needs to, again, be continued to look at. This is another tricolor up close, okay, with different varieties. You can compare the red to the amaranth tricolor to the red one itself. This red one, by the way, is a weed in the plot with a tricolor. It wasn't purposely planted there. In some areas, groups of people think that the purple one is poisonous. Okay? When here in America, we see the purple one as being rich in anthocyanins, being healthier for us, for a variety of different health-related aspects. But certain cultures believe that the purple itself may be poisonous, and so they stay away from it. We selected some of the different red amaranthus, and we have a really beautiful red amaranth. Again, most of the work in amaranth in the past, particularly really some beautiful work led by Rodell Institute like decades ago, was on the grain, on the health benefits of the seed grain of amaranth. Here we're only interested in the leaves, and the fresh leaves itself. This is a new type of, a Rutgers type of red amaranth that we hope will look good. Germinates very fast, and during growing, it's funny, when you're growing a weed in a big field, it doesn't grow as fast as the weed sometimes. Have you ever noticed it? But it's like, you can't believe how many dandelions we have in New Jersey. And then we grow French dandelion, and the weeds grow faster than a hybrid introduced Italian dandelion. Again, looking at the characteristics, the morphological aspects of Florida, New Jersey, and Massachusetts between plant height, plant spread, leaf length. And this is a crop that you could harvest singly, you could harvest in a multiple. Each of the different groups, nectar groups, use a different way of bundling it, either the new leaves and a little bit of stem, usually to pre-flower. But you get 5, 6, 7 harvests from amaranth very easily before it goes to flower. Again, later in the season, as the plant is more mature, the leaves can get a little bit more bitter tasting. Okay, but the fresh weight, dry weights were fine. You can see the wide variation between the different states. The conclusion really is Florida, New Jersey, the amaranth coming from New Jersey is yielding a little better than the Florida ones. Florida ones yielding a little better than UMass, but ultimately there's really not that much difference. And so all the states can do this. I think it's the way we set up the studies. It's not necessarily an indication of a risk if you're in one state versus the other. So we got so excited about the amaranth. In 2013, we said, screw this, let's really dive in. And we looked at 58 different accessions, not the main ones that we were looking at in the different states. We reduced the 58 to 16 because we weeded out, no pun intended, the weedy types of amaranth. We got 9 from the USDA former Rodella sessions, 3 from the World Vegetable Centers. The World Vegetable Centers, I know the breeders and I spent time there, and we introduced the amaranth and nightshade from those because they've already been bred after many years of breeding, many generations, so they're really nice and uniform. And from it, we conduce them further selection in the states and then release them to anybody who's interested in getting access to those World Vegetable Center lines. So we say that publicly because we'd like to be able to distribute those to those of you that are interested as a collective response from our group. We have a couple commercial lines from Johnny's and David's, one Korean commercial line and one local harvested one by Albert Ayini, a colleague here who works at Rutgers, who's doing this on the side. So we reduced it to 16 different lines. We wanted to make sure it didn't have premature flowering, it didn't have poor grow back or poor form and habit, as many of the amaranths do. And the top performers are these AM36, AM37, and AM38. They really look nice. Some of them have long, some of them have long, like tapered leaves. Some have rounder leaves. Some are so bitter that the grad students didn't want to do taste tests after the first two. Plus, I have them taste it before I taste it. I'm a typical professor, you know, get them to try it first. You guys think I'm kidding, no? Well, maybe a little bit. Okay, the AM36 is also called Madeira. It's a champion. It's really pretty. It grow back vigor. I like these stars, okay, rather than numbers. I'm slow, so the more stars, the better it is. Okay, so grow back vigor is excellent. Insect resistance is good. Very good. In fact, virtually no damage, but not perfect, so it didn't get the 5. Time to flower. We don't want it to flower, right? We want to keep cutting it every 7 to 10 days. It has a very favored appearance for many African cultures. It's unavailable from U.S. distributors. So if you guys are really interested in Amaranth, then come see us. I guess see me. Or I'd rather send you to Pete, but come see me and we'll try to make those seeds available. And then you have to test it, but if we give you the seed, you got to tell us if it works for you. Okay, there's strings attached to this. Give the feedback back to Kelly and to Remu because they do the tweeter and the other stuff, and we don't. We just pass the information. But this way, all of us can learn from each other's experience and how it looks. Xan looks really nice. It's a rounded one. I like the rounded ones more than the really elongated leaf. Again, different populations like it to look differently, and we don't know enough about it yet. Grow back vigor was really good. Again, we really want insect resistance. We don't want to be spraying this stuff, but we want it to be no holes in the leaves and time to harvest. This has some limited U.S. distribution. You could find it, but if you have trouble finding it, then again, come see me. And UNZA. UNZA stands for University of Zambia. They do some really cool work there. There's 2 breeders there. And there's wild amaranth, wild nightshade, and they don't do breeding, but they domesticate and select from it, and then look for uniformity in the seed, which is great, and then they release it up to the World Vegetable Center that does further work on it, and this looks good too, AM38. In the States, the more popular amaranth that's into commercial production is a tricolor type. Okay, those tricolor lines that display premature flowering. They're available by a lot of distributors. What we're trying to do is look and do some selection to have actually a dwarf type, okay, as well as a more stable non-flowering tricolor type. So that's what we're doing at Rutgers, just as complementary to the ongoing studies between the 3 states. And we're trying to do that to reduce processing and increase the edible proportion, because we believe that not only can you sell it fresh, but this really dries down easily, dries down nicely. We're working with 2 companies in Africa actually that dried and are now importing into the U.S. and we can't see why that also can't be done in a not so much competitive fashion with a U.S. company. So can you imagine if you have a lot of amaranth and you can have the low-cost dryers, they're very easy to build, and you can package it and sell as a dried vegetable. Or you could mix it in like we're suggesting to others and mix it in with another type of grain, and then you have kind of a natural biofortified food that's organic and not organic. There's this processing applications that you could do to the amaranth rather than just worrying about selling it fresh. Okay? And that's up to you to do, but other people are doing it and it's creating economic opportunities. And we'd be remiss not to consider that. You might not think it works for you, but I do ask you to consider how else you could sell it besides typically fresh, right? I'm not saying it tastes great, dried by the way, but if you mix it with soup and stews, as it's traditionally prepared all over the world, you know, it re-imbibes water and you preserve the taste, which is nice. So let's, as long as we're thinking about these crazy crops, let's think about alternative ways of marketing to make sure that your investment goes along the way. And if we look at the field data just for 2013, it's a little bit cleaner. We have the 3 types, and we simply categorize it by high yielding, medium yielding, and low yielding. So the numbers, you know, the absolute numbers don't mean too much, to be honest with you, even though we like to do it. It's the grouping and the relative ranking that means something, particularly if it's consistent year after year. And so these yields have look good. They're the same yields. We do the same studies, by the way, in 3 other countries, and it's the same relative rank ordering of the separation. So we feel confident that what we can give it, what we're recommending now, looks good for you. So the high yielding per grams of plant is the AM14 is the highest. The lowest is AM38, but you know, they're both all 4 or all 3 of them are really good. And it's not that significant anyway, statistically. Okay? If you're looking for regular commercial seed distributors of the amaranth, we don't get money, by the way, by recommending any of these seed distributors, but these are the only ones we have found. If you know others, let us know, because it's part of the Ethnic Greens network, right? We should keep an ongoing list of where you get seeds from, and we really need your help on that. We do the same Google searching, we use the same network searching as you do, but we all have different contacts and networks. So these are, what happened to the column that gave you the seed company? I guess this is, yeah, it is faded out on the left, sorry. Oh well, so I'm giving you something that's like a carrot. Now you got to really read the paper, right? Okay, but it really comes from Evergreen. God, I can't even read it. Johnny's, Rare Seeds, Corona, Sustainable, Seedman, Bountiful Gardens, Caribbean, West Coast, David's, Echo, and Katsuzawa. Okay, that's some of the seed companies.